Hit me.
You drive, guy cuts you off. You pull up
Yeah.
next to him, you're screaming at him. You roll down your window, you're like, hey, you son of a bitch, you cut me off, you fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. You're enraged. You're suffering. This guy did you wrong.
Yeah.
That happens to me. I'm looking at the person. I say, I got you. I pull out a little blade, cut some of my wrist, smear it on the window. You see that and you're like, okay, man. And I'm like, okay,
Exactly.
see you later. You know?
Exactly. Justice has been served. Right
Yeah.
has been wrong. All is well in the universe. Harmony is achieved.
Yeah.
Balance is achieved, and I think that would be great. And like I'm
Eh,
picturing. Let's say I cut somebody off. Right. Nobody's perfect. Right.
yeah.
Somebody pulls up to me, tells me, does the roll down your window thing. I roll down my window, and they say, hey, you cut me off.
Oh,
You ugly motherfucker. And I say,
yeah.
I understand. I floor it, and I just wrap my car around a tree.
Welcome to the Fantasy Cast podcast, where three grown men pass the time by sharing their deepest, darkest fantasies. Here we go.
Welcome to the Fantasy Cast pod. This is a pretty special episode. Those of you who don't know, first-time listeners, we'll be getting a lot of listeners coming in from our activity online and other podcasts. This is a podcast where normally three grown men who met as anonymous people online shared their deepest, darkest, let's just call them fantasies, decided to start a podcast together. What we do, basically, the format of the show is we chit chat for a little bit, catch up, share a couple fantasies, just have a couple thoughts about them, ideas about where the fantasies can go. You can always give us a call at 312-767-7943. That's 312-767-7943. Or email us at fantcastpod@gmail.com. If you have any fantasies you want to throw at us, we'll be glad to talk about them, unpack them, and give you some advice live on air. So today it's just going to be me, that's Mike, and Nathan. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good, Mike. Thanks for getting us started here. I've had something happen to me today. Maybe I'd like to get it off my chest and throw some ideas at you, see what you think about it.
All right, man, go.
So I was at the grocery store, no big deal. I'm checking out, and I put that divider, that piece of plastic between my products and the person's products in front of me.
Oh,
And some of my products fall on the other person's area,
yeah.
and the person in front of me says, "Oh, this isn't mine," and she puts it back in my area. It's a mistake on my part. I should have contained my products better. So it got me thinking. I think both you and I agree universally. I don't even think we need, goes without saying, but the only way that people change their behavior or learn things is consequences, is to be punished for things that they did wrong.
Oh, shit.
And so we have a justice system that is flawed, but by and large, it seeks to enact punishment against people that do wrong to change that behavior, right?
Yeah.
But what about just the small things like that? Like who's going to punish me, give me consequences for that mistake?
Yeah.
Whose job is that? Is that if I see somebody doing something wrong, is it my job to punish them? How do we, if the only way that we can learn, otherwise, somebody cuts you off in traffic, right?
Oof.
And if that person doesn't receive consequences for that, that behavior is not going to change, and they're going to cut somebody else off and
They're
somebody
gonna
else
keep
off.
doing
And
it.
pretty soon it's going to be an accident.
Yeah.
And then that costs lives. So is it my job to chase the person down and punish them?
Yeah.
Whose job is that? So it's just more of less of a seeking to find a solution today. Maybe just something to talk about. I was curious what you thought.
Well, I mean, maybe in a perfect world, it'd be upon yourself. Oh my God, what are you drinking? What the fuck is that?
It's tea. It's
yerba?
loose leaf tea. Yeah.
Yerba.
You fuck with yerba?
I've heard about yerba. I've always thought the straws seem pretty cool. I hear it's a low level. He's acting like it's a a pipe. It's like a tea, and you suck it through this special straw, and it filters it all out.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be low caffeine.
It's
a
high
low
cap.
caffeine. Oh, it's high.
For tea, it's high.
I decided to get a boost myself. I'm drinking a chai, loose leaf chai.
What's the caffeine like in one of those fucking pieces of shit?
I mean, for a freak like me, it ain't shit. You know what I mean? I drink a pot a day, every fucking day for the past like 20 years. So y'all can suck my dick. I don't give a fuck how much caffeine's in here. This is just to keep me warm. You know what I mean? This is my nightcap.
This little bit of tea right here is not even gonna get my dick hard. I'm drinking it late night, and I'll be able to fall asleep in 2 seconds.
Totally, me too, man. Nightcap.
So,
anyway, so maybe it's upon yourself, like when, for example, in this situation where someone did that to you, pointed out that you made a mistake, a little bit of your butter got onto their side of the aisle. You simply say, you raise both hands. You say, "I'm sorry. I'm not a threat to you." Put the 2 hands into a prayer pose like that.
Yeah.
Look downward for a second and just hit your chest.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 times, like in Fear, the movie Fear, if you remember.
Yes.
Something like that. Or we have, there's small claims court. Something I've been realizing is that people are stretched so thin, and very much concerned with appearances. And there's really no extra desire for building any community in your neighborhood. A neighborhood is just a place you're going to stay at until you move to the next place or the next place. Every place is exactly the same. All malls are the same. All McDonald's are the same. So people don't really right now have a sense of community in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe it's time that like a couple people take it upon themselves, vigilante justice, to start administering a community low-level punishments for people. Say you live in a neighborhood and there just seems to be garbage just flying around fucking everywhere. No one takes responsibility for it. Someone's eating fucking McDonald's in front of your house and just throwing the garbage on the ground. They have no sense of community. They don't care about community. They don't care about the community they're in. You know what I mean? So, maybe someone goes out there with a baseball bat, starts in the hood of their car with a baseball bat, or sneaks up behind them, puts a banana in their exhaust pipe or sugar in their gas pipe or something like that, messing up their car.
Yeah.
Something like that, just well, something like, you are a part of the community. We're all part of it. You have to acknowledge me. I acknowledge you. You know what I mean? I'm not a fucking employee at McDonald's that you can just erase from your memory, or someone that gives you, delivers your food or something like that.
Yeah, I really, I like what you're saying, and it got me thinking. There's also another way you could do it, and now this isn't going to be more. This is less going to be less effective, less of a strong hand.
Okay, but I'm going to listen to it. What is it?
Well, it's just we're incumbent in order to function in society. We have to be incumbent within ourselves to, like you said, punish ourselves. So just like I'm beating my chest in line at the grocery store because I made a mistake. The person that cut me off, it's incumbent on them to punish themselves, so it might take me to be like, pointed out to them, you cut me off, you deserve to be punished. And then it's incumbent upon them. Like, it's not necessary for me it shouldn't be necessary for me to do that, but it's in, that sense of guilt that comes up in people. Like, you have to listen to that. And you go home. And you can burn yourself with cigarettes. You can, if you don't smoke, you can, pull the hair off your eyebrows.
Soap in your mouth.
Yeah, soap in your mouth.
Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it. I got something for you.
Hit me.
You drive. Guy cuts you off. You pull up next to him. You're screaming at him. You roll down your window. You're like, "Hey, you son of a bitch! You cut me off. You fucking piece of shit." You know what I mean? Something like that. You're enraged. You're suffering. This guy did you wrong. That happens to me. I'm looking at the person. I say, "I got you." I pull out a little blade, cut some of my wrist, smear it on the window. You see that, and you're like, "Okay, man." And I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, see you later.
Exactly. Justice has been served. Right has been wrong. All is well in the universe. Harmony is achieved. Balance is achieved, and I think that would be great. And like I'm picturing. Let's say I cut somebody off. Right. Nobody's perfect. Right. Somebody pulls up to me. tells me, does the roll down your window thing. I roll down my window and they say, hey, you cut me off.
Oh,
You ugly motherfucker. And I say,
yeah.
I understand. I floor it and I just wrap my car around a tree.
And maybe if at that point, like you would do that worst case scenario, like you keep doing it to people by accident, you can't control it. Maybe it's time to check out, punch out.
Yeah.
You know
or
what I
maybe
mean?
just
You're
total my
like,
car.
I'm sorry, man. I tried so many times. I can't get it right. I keep messing up. You're right. Roll the window back up. Tinted windows also, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to remain anonymous as you're driving around.
Yeah.
No one can see your fucking eyes. You coward son of a bitch. And you just run right into a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. But that would be like worst case scenario. That's not a first offense. That's like several offense. That's when you've admitted to yourself that like
you need to
get
take
better.
that car away out of your hands. You need to do something to get that car out of your hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like pouring all the alcohol down the sink. Like, you need to get this stuff away from me because I can't help it. I'm going to continue driving. I'm going to continue not cutting people off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Or like sewing your asshole closed to stop overeating. Yeah. So no, I appreciate you chopping that idea up with me. It's something I've been thinking about a lot.
I mean, this show is about ideas, sharing ideas, and not being afraid to share ideas. A lot of you people are, I consider myself left of Stalin, and I think that, absolute freedom of speech. I hate Donald Trump. I hate the alt-right. I hate right people. I hate centered people. If you're left, even that's not enough for me. I want you out of the picture. So that's the kind of guy I am. Just give you an idea of my mental landscape, the inner workings of like my mind. And I gotta say, there's not a lot of room for absolute free speech. You know what I mean? If you're into goblin porn or whatever, like, tell me about it. I definitely want to hear from you. And anyways, back to ideas. We had a couple ideas. I threw one at you the other day. I said, it just came to me. I don't know what I was doing. I was probably trying to disassociate from my family and the inner turmoil of like my mind.
Yeah, sure.
Just like realizing like the family I come from, the consequences of who they are, you know what I mean? And how that's like screwed me over monumentally, and there's just no escape. It's like who you are, your DNA. Okay, fantasy idea. Finding an ex and just going on and on about how you were no good for them, telling them in excruciating detail why you were wrong for them, why you didn't let them close to you because you were scared of hurting them. And why you were afraid that it would end up like all the other relationships and good things in your life. So let me rephrase that. So like you locate an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, and you start a dialogue with them wherever they are in their life, and you just go on and on about how, man, we could have never made it work. You know what I mean? I just was, at that time, I was just too damaged a person. You know what I mean? Damaged people, damage other people. And I could have never let my guard down at that point, you see, because if I did, I felt like I'd hurt you. So that's why. I mean, come on, this would have never worked. You know what I mean? Maybe she's agreeing. She's like, yeah, I know. I could have never worked. It would have never, ever worked, hon. You know what I mean? And that way, it's just like, goes on for very long. Like, the other person appreciates the conversation, but it just keeps going on and on. You know what I mean? And you had some other ideas of what, like you say, you would pay neighborhood kids to run up and hand deliver tiny notes you wrote to her.
Yeah.
You said it would be cool about how you spent your whole life working on yourself so you don't repeat the same mistakes. So you're kind of like reassuring them, like, I would never do that again. And you're not trying to get back with this person. It's really something like more weird.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like trying to eat up their time and like show them that you're like good again. Say things like, grateful your light hasn't faded because of me. So you're saying like, you're congratulating them like, wow, after all we've been through, man, you still found someone else to like build like a really strong relationship with. That is so cool. You know what I mean? You survived me. That's amazing. Exactly. Incredible. I really applaud you for that. Yeah. Then let's see. Your last note was, pay a sex worker to threaten her, pretending to be another ex who is trying to get you back after you left her to work on yourself. What does that mean exactly?
Sure. So I'm imagining, in doing this, like I'm this fantasy, I feel really good to kind of center myself around this person's life and like kind of humiliate myself in front of this ex at like what a worm I am and like how bad I was, both to and at the same time showing how I'm not that person anymore,
Mm,
and so I pay
mm.
a sex worker to go up to my ex who I'm like being servile in front of, and the sex worker is like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get him back, aren't you? Well, I'm trying to fucking get him back too, and I'm not gonna let you jump the line. he
Yeah.
he he made he was sure he was a piece of shit. He was an absolute dog. He was broke. He was fat, unattractive. He was always
Mhm.
stealing shit from you and cheating on you and
Using your Costco card.
using your Costco card. He used all your miles to go to Vegas with his friends and then didn't come back when he was supposed to. He did all this stuff, but he's better now. He makes money. He's been in therapy for 15 years. He's got a good job. He
Yeah.
knows he really likes kids, and he's mine now. So don't you fucking think you can get him back. I know he's been sniffing around you, but you're never going to get him back.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this ex is like going through like real life stuff. They're trying to like, they're applying to jobs. They're trying to get a new job. They have like a cancer scare. Luckily, it's negative, but there's just like a lot going on. Like their aunt is, is having health problems. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like, I
real
don't
life
need
stuff is
this.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, real life stuff. It's like, I don't need this person. You know what I mean? Anyways, the long story short, the fantasy is getting in contact with an ex and wasting their time.
I think it's I feel like it's more than that. It's like some like narcissistic fantasy where you had way more of an impact on somebody's life than you actually did. And
Mhm.
like, painting yourself to be like far more of a
Right.
of like a
I'm probably the
degenerate than you
turning
actually
point of
were.
your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you like when you present it at first, it's kind of, it's obnoxious, and but you just kind of, the ex is being cordial and polite just to kind of get you to move along, thinking that this is going to be it. But you keep finding ways to like reinsert yourself in her life, but with no, while staying on this same idea. Like you don't move forward from this idea in any way. It's not like you're trying
Yeah.
to make advances or turn this into some like rekindle a relationship or
You don't listen
anything
to
or
a
get anything.
word they're saying.
Exactly. It's just a way to gratify yourself in the presence of somebody else by like heightening your importance in their
Yeah.
life, to the point where it just becomes extremely tedious for this person. Like it get so bothersome and uncomfortable that they get a restraining order, is I think what you said.
You send them lyrics of songs you're working on that are like about this topic. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, I'm glad you moved on.
yeah, and
You're so much better without me.
they try to set boundaries, like very clear boundaries. They're like, listen, I'm not interested in having any contact with you whatsoever. Please
Yeah.
stop contacting me. And
Right.
then you contact her again, but you preface it with like, look, I know you said I shouldn't contact you, and I want to honor that, but I can't walk away without just feeling about, reflecting on how strong you must have been for enduring
Yeah.
my all my video game playing when I would just stay up late and play video games. You can hear me talking to
I
my
don't
friends.
do that anymore. I haven't touched a video game in 3 months now. I go to the gym 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Starting to learn the rowing machine. I'm getting pretty good at it. Stuff
So
like that.
yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine me in good shape now? I was such a slouch back then. I was so lazy.
And like I was such a slut, but I haven't been with a woman in 30 days,
Yeah.
you know.
Jeez.
I also like the idea of finding ways to insert yourself into people's life around her. Like I was thinking about like she comes over and you're at her mom's house,
Yeah.
and her mom is like, honey, look who showed up. It's been so long. Gosh, I didn't know that you guys had such a tumultuous relationship. Honey, you were so strong for enduring this guy's
Right.
the tough time in this guy's life. You do it with her like mom, you do it with her boyfriend or husband.
Yeah.
And they all are very sympathetic to you. It's like a What About Bob type of
Yeah,
scenario
totally.
where like everybody is endeared by you and sees it as like
Why don't you like him? What's wrong with him? He seems
yeah.
like a nice guy. I don't understand.
And it reflects positively on your ex because again, you know, she endured your all this nonsense,
You
but
can't help it.
she doesn't see it that yeah, she doesn't see it that way because she knows it's just all insane. But there's no way to communicate that to anybody.
Right. Eventually, like it blows up at like a barbecue or something, and she's like, "I don't want to see you," you know, in front of everyone. "I don't want to see you. I don't want you here." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
flips like your hot dog plate onto your brand new silk shirt you were proud about buying your first shirt from Tommy Bahama or whatever. They're like, "That's Oliver's new shirt," you know? And he's like, "I guess I should go, guys." You know, he looks really sad. Me,
Yeah.
I look really sad. You know, I mean, yeah, there is no end game. It seems like that is the last time you see him. He's gone, and you know, there's no escape.
Yeah.
Really, maybe that's kind of what. There's no way to win.
No, the process is the gratification, you know. So there's just like there's no if there's no end game for me, like I'm not trying to get anything out of it other than just any kind
It's
of
like a
attention
compulsion.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, any kind of
Negative, positive, anything.
That brings me to an idea, a thing that I forgot about. Let's conclude that fantasy. I think that's a 6 out of 10. We used to have an idea. You and I used to throw around this fantasy about having like a cousin, like a white trash cousin. You're like care for. Maybe you remember this. This is a deep cut, and he's just like hyperactive, has low impulse control, and is like you take him to like Las Vegas to show him a good time, and like he starts like a fight with a group of guys on the street.
Yeah.
And you try to like break it up. You're like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. And the guys start beating you up, and then
Yeah.
the kid you're watching also starts beating you up and kicking you because he just doesn't know what else to do. You know what I mean? Like joyfully kicking you and laughing at you.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you remember that guy?
I do. He's the guy who would say, "Bow one to the head. Now you know he dead."
Yeah, totally.
He'd just be like rapping to himself, stuff like that. You know.
You know, he's like emaciated since birth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like can't gain weight
No.
in any way.
Like
doesn't eat. You've never seen him eat.
Yeah. Like you turn around. You're at the casino and like you turn around for a while, like 10 minutes, and when you look back, he's picked a fight with somebody like 3 times the size, or he's like in debt, like 10 grand. He just did something completely insane that now you have to bear the brunt of in some way.
And the only way to get rid of something like this is to literally kill them or like allow them to be killed by like gangsters or something like that.
Yeah. Like I think there's a way where you can pawn them off on somebody else, you know, and they attach to somebody else, but then you always run the risk of them circling back to you.
Right. You got to change your name or move to a different state or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just threw that at you. I think it's something you can put on the back burner. See if you can think of anything that'll come up with this guy. So what's going on? What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Dude, you're kind of looking like Matt Damon right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you got that Matt Damon hair right now. Tie.
Mm-hmm.
Your jaw looks strong.
I figured out a way. I've lost some weight.
Oh,
but
cool.
I figured out a way to obscure the receding hairline is you just make it look bigger on top.
Taller.
And the way the light is it, you know, it's not doing me any favors.
Yeah, no, it looks like you look younger.
Yeah, thank you.
You're looking good, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've been doing this new workout. So you know how there's like 600 muscles in the human body, more or less. So I've been doing this new workout routine where I pick one muscle and I isolate it and I work that muscle to complete exhaustion.
Like one side, like on one side, not symmetrically.
No, I'll do it symmetrically. So like, like say that there's a muscle, like a connector muscle, like in like that connects like your rotator cuff to like whatever, I don't know what the fuck, but like some small muscle back there. I'll find an exercise that isolates as closely as I can just that muscle.
Super tiny movements.
Yeah, and I'll work it to complete exhaustion. Even if like today I was in the gym for probably about 5 hours. Yeah, it gets so sore.
That's
But
Arnold
then
Schwarzenegger
the next
hours.
day, the next day you find another muscle. You work that muscle to complete exhaustion. I'm starting with
Okay.
my back, and I'm gonna by the end of it, I'm gonna work all the way down to my feet, and then
Yeah.
go to like my face and head.
Wait,
It's
so you're
pretty
working
incredible.
back. So you're gonna be going down your shoulders. Wait, you probably did the top of your head, back.
I've done my head.
So you're
I've done
doing
my
like
neck.
back. Then you're
Mhm.
gonna go to the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna do chest and all the abdominal muscles, and then
Weird.
all the muscles going down my leg, all the muscles
Mm.
in my feet, and then I'm gonna end with my face. You know,
Okay, that's cool.
so
That's
like
cool. Yeah, that
see
makes
this
sense.
what I'm doing?
Yeah.
How I'm raising my eyebrows up and down. Imagine
Yeah.
doing that so much that you just
Right.
completely exhaust that muscle group till you can't even move your eyebrows up and down anymore without resting. So I was at a library working on this fantasy,
Yeah.
and it's just a real, a nice meat and potatoes fantasy, nothing crazy, just a touching story about uh, a woman's volleyball coach. I'm a woman's volleyball coach, and like these women are all dimes. There's not,
Yeah.
just absolutely beautiful, tall, leggy. Um, and I'm this coach, and I have, in order to get this team to like the next level, next championship or whatever, I have to blow a dildo from one of our sponsors. Our main sponsors is Adam and Eve, and they have a new line of dildos, and I have to blow it like
Mhm.
center court or whatever in front of everybody as like a promotional stunt, or they
Mm.
won't finance our trip to the finals.
Okay.
And so I'm reading, I'm sitting there writing this fantasy, and I noticed that there's one of those, those like black and white journals that you see. I pick it up, and it's somebody's diary. There's no name on it or anything. It's had some stuff spilled on it. It's probably been out in the rain, so I don't get much information out of it. It's mostly like whoever's diary is this guy griping about, making empty threats about how if Trump wins, he's going to move to Europe, and then Trump won, and he was like, I have to stay here and fight, to for democracy and all this shit. So stuff like that. But then I found this like thread, the storyline from like a few month period in his life that was really interesting. And I was thinking about reading it. Instead of the volleyball coach fantasy, I was thinking about reading this, and wondering if that's something that you'd be open to.
So this is an anonymous fantasy from someone you found on the street,
Yep.
in the library.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. I don't see why not. I'm assuming you read it ahead of time.
Yeah. It's all vetted.
Okay, cool.
And
Seems real.
yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, it's
Bona fide.
legit. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cheers
Let
with
me-
that. Cheers. I'm gonna take a sip.
let me open this thing up. All right, here we go. All right, October 22nd. It happened again. I walked into the gym locker room, and 3 guys I lift with were showing off their holes. They asked me if they could see mine. I made an excuse, said I was double parked, and walked out. I was filled with shame all day. I just want a beautiful hole, not the protruded broken hole I was born with. All I see on social media is friends showing off their immaculate holes. Every guy from college seems to have a successful asshole. Everyone is enjoying their holes with friends and family, not me. I feel deflated. November 1st. I keep getting barraged with advertising for different hole creams, serums, and miracle cures that claim to bring beauty to my unattractive asshole. If I have to hear that my hole is distended because I'm not taking enough slippery elm bark powder 4:1 ratio extract, I'm going to tear my hair out. Sad thing is, I've tried them all. One cream to bring the redness down, another to tighten it, one to exfoliate. It's maddening. And what's more, it seems I've tried everything, and none work. A doctor emailed me promising a surgical procedure to replace my anus with a high-quality donor. I'll call him tomorrow. I'll hate anything not to feel this way anymore. November 25th. I spent the morning crying and gagging again. The eve before Thanksgiving, I spent hiding in the bathroom stall of a bar. They had a surprise whole viewing beauty contest. I took refuge in the men's room so the drag queen hosting the contest didn't call on me. I told Jennifer that I have IBS. I don't expect to hear from her again. Most women these days want a guy whose hole is nice that they can show it off to their girlfriends. Not some mangled freak like me. IBS. More like intolerable butthole syndrome. Good news is, I heard from the doctor. A Moldovan asshole model drowned in a car wash, leaving his hole perfectly intact. I'm flying down to Brazil tomorrow. I'm missing Thanksgiving with my family, but fuck them. Their genetics gave me this busted asshole. This could be the beginning of a new life for me, a life my father never had. November 30th. I'm starting to heal from the surgery. The doctor will be coming in to reveal the hole replacement. I'm excited, terrified, elated all at once. November 31st. I don't know how to feel. The doctor did nothing to fix my asshole. About this, I am furious. However, he gave me a pussy, where my dick used to be. I'm still getting used to the idea of having a pussy. It's still sore, but I've been playing with it all morning, and it feels awesome. December 12th. I'm still in Brazil. I canceled my flight back home. I've been playing with my pussy for almost 2 weeks straight. It's almost fully healed and looks incredible. I'm no expert on pussies, but it looks better than almost any pussy I've seen on screen or in real life. The sensitivity is fantastic. I spent all day yesterday riding around on a motorcycle. Today I learned how to squirt. Life seems less heavy. I went back to the surgeon to thank him for the pussy, and his office was empty, stripped down. I can see now it was the back room of a place that sells ribs. Clearly I've been exploited, but I don't care. Me and my new pussy don't care. January 8th. Todd's poker night is today. I'm nervous. Certainly the guys will ask where I've been for the last month. Do I lie? Do I tell the truth? What will they think of me now that I have this pussy? Will they want to touch it? January 9th. Wow. I feel so light. Poker night was amazing. When I told the guys where I'd been and about my pussy, everyone was so supportive. Todd asked me to see it. Boy, was he impressed. He called in Carol to check it out. Usually wives aren't allowed into poker night, but we made an exception. Her jaw almost hit the floor. She said it was the nicest pussy she's ever seen, and she's a feminine hygiene social media influencer. She asked if she could touch it, and honestly, I was excited to get her feedback. She started rubbing the clit really hard. She asked if it squirted, so I showed her. Everyone was so impressed. People were taking videos. Carol insisted that Todd fuck it for a while. He could use the practice, she said, LOL. I said sure. Todd fucked me for a while and it felt amazing. I felt close to him. The other guys were standing around encouraging him, and me. He busted inside of me. Carol assured me that if for some reason I got pregnant, Todd would help support the child. Todd didn't seem so sure of this. LOL. Kyle stepped in and ate me out for a while. A few other guys called their girlfriends over. We were up until 1 a.m. having drinks and playing with my new pussy. I felt loved and accepted. January 13th. So I was at the gym locker room today, and someone was showing off the new wax job on his asshole with one of those social media lights. Someone from the group called me over. I felt my stomach drop. How am I going to get out of this one? To my surprise, they all wanted to see my pussy. They were all so eager and supportive. Their excitement was undeniable. I played coy for like a second, just to build tension, but of course I showed them. They were in awe. One of the biggest guys jokingly carried me to the shower and asked if he could wash it. I knew he was kidding on the outside, but serious on the inside, so I played along. I left feeling connected to all those guys, some I had never met until that day. People who I haven't talked to in years have been reaching out to me telling me how excited they are and asking for pictures. February 20th. All good things must come to an end, I suppose. My new pussy is starting to come loose. Apparently, it wasn't built to last. The exterior is starting to peel away and I can see stuffing on the inside. Each day that passes brings more detachment. I've been to several surgeons and each told me that because I had the surgery done in Brazil, the conversion to US tools would be too complicated for them to figure out. It's better to let it fall off on its own and try again fresh. I'm spiraling. I still have an ugly asshole and now a broken pussy hanging by a thread. FML. February 25th. Todd's poker night again. Everyone will be there, and they will want to see my pussy. I want to crawl into a cave and never come out. February 26th. Once again, my heart is filled with hope. My wonderful friends have lifted me out of despair. As soon as I walked in, I was asked to show my pussy. Hands shaking, I knew I had to get the disappointment over with, like ripping off a Band-Aid. I showed them how my pussy was in disrepair. Instead of disgust and shame, I was met with support and love. Dwayne offered to take a week off to fly down with me to Brazil to get it fixed. Carol said she would give my pussy a makeover until I got a new one. Todd said the reason the pussy felt so good is not because it was good pussy, but because it was my pussy. He cares about me, not the pussy. I feel like a fool to ever have been worried. What's more, no one, I mean no one, this whole time said a word about my vile-looking asshole. This journey has been a huge lesson. Excited to see where it takes me next. The rest is kind of illegible, but I just thought that was a nice, what I was able to capture from that was a nice little story about a guy's journey.
What a find.
Yeah.
No talk about Jan 6 or anything in there.
No. I mean, I don't know what year this was from.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe this guy just isn't,
That's what I'm saying.
maybe he's just completely
in touch with reality.
Yeah, in touch with reality. Knows that it was a false flag and didn't want to say anything about it because he knows that it didn't actually happen.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I gotta admit, I'm like confused about how to go about talking about this because this is this a diary in the form? Is this a fantasy in the form of a diary? You see where I'm at, or is it a legitimate diary? What do you think it is?
As best as I can tell, it's a legitimate diary. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that this guy, wrote sexual fantasies in the form of a diary, and just like left it around for people to find because that's like the perverted thing he's into.
That's a pretty big commitment to a fantasy. You know what I mean? Going day in, day out, pretending you're in these situations where your asshole is big enough. You're in a world where people are showing off their holes in the gym casually to one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a pretty serious commitment to a fantasy
not
way
to mention,
of life.
There's probably like, a few years worth of just the mundane bullshit that I just kind of flipped through.
Yeah. Okay.
So it feels like this is a real guy's diary.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to chew on. I mean, you get access to someone's diary, you really get to be in their shoes. And I really, painted a strange world where they felt alienated because they were deformed. Their hole isn't good looking. I mean, if you don't take care of it, it's going to fall apart. Some people are just born with a bad one. Some people got to work for it. Some people are born great. Some people, what's the saying? Some people are born great. Some people are put in a position to be great. Some people just ain't never going to be great. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's like the story of this guy. That's called the story of my hole for this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and I connect with him because like there's a lot of pressure on guys to have really nice, clean, well-kept holes. And your hole is nice, my hole is nice. John's does a lot of good work on his hole. But what if he's
come a long way?
He's come a long way. But what would it be like if you didn't have that? If just like your hole was just genetically not up to par with the guys in the gym or your friends or the people, guys in your fantasy league, because what a lot of people don't realize, maybe, if you're listening to this and maybe you're younger, or you're not kind of plugged into this masculine culture, there's a lot of talk about holes, and a lot of talk, sharing pictures, and sometimes if after a few drinks you'll show each other.
Yeah.
If in certain
Corner of the
social
bar.
groups, yeah, certain social groups are more open with it, whatever. But there is some pressure there,
Absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't about the pussy, it was about you. It was about you this whole time,
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a great story though.
What a great friend group, what a supportive friend group. That's really, I mean, that if I were to fantasize about something, it would be having a bunch of friends that support me,
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
you
Group of guys you can count on. You know what I mean? They're not all deranged, damaged people.
Yeah, perverts.
Sell you out for a nickel bag, perverted. Okay. Completely brainwashed by the liberal media.
What do you got there?
I got one. I've been working on a 3-parter at least. I feel like a neurotic Charles Dickens right now.
Oh, I'm so
we're doing a
excited.
serial. Yeah. Okay. This one's called. It's a little pertinent to your fantasy. It's called The Friend. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
I was getting nerd. I can read out loud perfectly to my daughter. When I get on this thing, I start reading. I start stuttering and shit. You know what I mean?
You read this to your daughter?
No.
Oh,
But I mean,
okay.
when I read her books and stuff.
Sure.
Okay. Have I told you of my friend? I get really self-conscious of my diction.
Mm-hmm.
Have I told you? You know what I mean?
Well, take your time. You can go over. You can go over whatever. Whatever
warm-ups. I'm just gonna go for it. Have I told you of my friend? It's unfit to even refer to them as a friend. It's likely your idea of a friend is someone you have dinner with, take vacations with, or play golf with. Yes, I have friends like that, but this one friend I'm speaking of is something else. We aren't related, we aren't sexual partners, and we don't work together. Yet we are eternally bonded through particular circumstances that I'm sure none of you can relate to. Is that why you despise me so much? Because I have what none of you have? What you all desperately desire to make sense of your life? A story. I have the story of my friend. My friend and I sealed our bond on a sailing trip during high school. That summer, our fathers conspired to turn us into men by forcing us to go sailing around Greece together. My father did this to me and it changed my life, my father said to me, and now you will do the same. We aren't a wealthy family, but I want you to be raised with wealthy values, because one day you will find that when all is lost, who you are is all that matters, not the women, the money, or how far you can blast, but you, who you are, where you came from. This trip, my son, will help you begin that journey. I knew my friend very little at that point. As children, we were somewhat close, but that ended when we attended different middle schools. We were a less wealthy family, and I was sent to a less expensive school. Because of this, I almost have the IQ of someone who went to a public school or Montessori school. Essentially brain damage, a problem I struggle with to this day. During the time I was separated from my friend, I heard many rumors about them. I heard that there were several incidents of him spazzing out at sleepovers. Another rumor was of my friend running out of the gym locker room naked, hiding himself in a closed-off section on their campus near an electrical generator, and lashing out at anyone that would try to get near him. They ended up having to shut down the entire electrical section of the neighborhood and used a fire hose to spray him out of the nook. When I was greeted by him on the boat, I could see that he had changed since grade school. He was on guard, had bags under his eyes, and had an icy demeanor. I had made the commitment to not let the rumors ruin my trip, as we would be spending the next several weeks together. So I pushed the stories out of my head. I remember our fathers waving at us as we unanchored our ship from the sea dock and stared at them as they became tiny as ants until they disappeared into nothing. When I turned around from this entranced state, I found that my friend had receded to the cabin within the sailboat. He was unpacking his things, taking over the entire cabin where the 2 beds were. He threw a pillow at me and told me that I would have to sleep on the deck because other people near him scared him, especially when he was sleeping. I agreed because I didn't want to start any trouble. I wanted to tell him why I felt it was acceptable for him to claim the only shelter on the boat for several weeks, but he slammed the door in my face before I could do so. The trip was great. We wrestled a few times on deck as I challenged him to take over the cabin. It got out of hand a few times, but I finally claimed control of the sailboat when I held a pocket knife up to his throat. He can tell by the look in my eye that I would have slit his throat then and there if he did not yield to me. He began sobbing on the deck and explained that he didn't fit in anywhere. He had had an erection and was playing with himself while he was telling me about his feelings of alienation. This disgusted me, so I beat his ass some more and threw all of his shit out into the deck from the cabin as it belonged to me now and I could do whatever I wanted. "This is my shit now," I said to him. There was one extremely heavy chest that I couldn't move. I opened it and found that it was full of pornography. My friend put his hand on my shoulders. I didn't hear him sneaking up behind me. I was shaking. I had never seen so many pictures of the most beautiful naked women. This was high quality pornography, so I was sure that the women who shared their God-given forms with the photographers were unexploited and led fulfilling, unashamed lives that were full of love and joy. My friend lovingly shared his collection of pornography, and we spent many nights looking at the pictures under the stars. Our blood pressures rising with horniness, priming us for our visit to the final island, the one our fathers told us was where we were to become men. There on that island, we found that it was basically a brothel. I feel like moving the story along here. We don't really need to get into the details. We end up drunk in the place, and my friend and I go into separate rooms. Each one of us has been assigned a beautiful woman that we are attracted to and charmed by. The women made it clear that they were genuinely attracted to us and looked forward to sharing the most sacred form of intimacy with us, sexual intercourse. Just as my female partner and I were to begin our sexual exchange, I hear a pounding coming from the next room, the room where my friend was staying. Then I straight up hear someone tearing the place apart and a woman screaming. This guy is smashing a hole in the wall or something. Soon enough, a hole appears on my side of the wall, and my friend is using a heavy lamp to break a hole into the wall. His face is all red, and he doesn't even look at me. And my sexual partner, who I am sexually attracted to, no question, hands down, this person was hot. And I think about her beauty and presence every day. The smell of her hair, her eyes staring into mine, her head laying on my chest as I was breathing as the sun was rising. Once my friend finished making a huge hole in the wall, he takes his time moving the bed into just the right place where he can see us, me, and this female woman I'm sexually aroused by. And he begins having sex with the woman he is easily and mutually sexually attracted to. I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't think of myself as this kind of person, but whatever. I'm sexually attracted to this person that is a woman. Let's just do this. This is cool. So essentially, we do it. Me and the woman I am sexually attracted to, and my friend has sex with the female woman he is attracted to. Fine, whatever. Weird, but whatever. This is what people do for each other. They compromise. This is what friends do. This is how you build something together. A lot of people now are so practical that basically don't understand how friendship works because everything in their lives is so desperate and hopeless, and everyone is fighting for resources that the idea of spending anything extra on someone that doesn't benefit your career or social standing is pointless. Sad. I could go on, but I won't. I don't have the time right now. We spend the rest of the trip having fun as friends do, telling jokes, taking in movies and music, watching TV on the boat, eating together. Then we return home and I find out my aunt that we were never really close with has passed away. At the time, my friend was visiting us in our cottage in the wilderness, so he got roped into going to the funeral with us. No big deal. We are cracking jokes and goofing around in the car on the way there. My sister and my parents are all talking shit about the family members that will also be in attendance. We get there and do all the funeral stuff that rich pieces of shit at funerals do. My friend starts zeroing in on my cousin, squeezing my hand while he talks to her. She is clearly interested in him, and she invites us to smoke some weed in the shed on the property. My friend, me, my cousin, and a few other cousins all cram into the shed, and we smoke. One of the other cousins finds lawn darts and wants to throw them around in the yard, old ass toys. I want to go too, but my friend wants me to stay while he makes out with my cousin. I say, I want to leave. I don't want to watch you making out with my cousin. I want to go and play darts on the lawn. But his face gets red, and I can tell he's going to throw a fit. He demands that I stay and puts his fist through a window. See, look what you've made me done now, he yells at me as blood drips down his hand. The cousin and I mend his wounds, and they start making out. She tells me to stick around if that's what he wants. I say okay. So I get into a chair and face it away from them. She's family, so what choice do I have? I put on headphones, playing my favorite tape at the time, Pearl Jam's Vitology. I don't see or hear anything, but I can feel the vibrations now and then, and the faint reflections and shadows on the wall in front of me. I know they are done when I see my cousin walking out of the shed. I look back and I see my friend is putting on his clothes with a big smile on his face. When we walk out of the shed, everyone is playing lawn darts and laughing, and no one seems to think anything weird has happened. We end up having a fun afternoon. As the sun sets, we all hang out in my female cousin's TV room and watch VHSs of movies we like, wrapped up in blankets, drinking soda, and snacking on leftovers. In the middle of the night, we're all sleeping, in the TV room, mind you, and I hear my friend and my cousin having sex again. My friend is holding my hand from the couch. I am on the floor in front of the couch. I don't know for how long he was doing it for. I try to pull my hand away, but he doesn't let me. He squeezes harder. I give in, figuring there's no way out of this situation without making a big deal. I hear my cousin and friend bust at the same time. Nice, I think, not bad. Poltergeist 3 is playing on the television. That fall, college began for us. I stayed in the city I was raised in like an absolute poor loser, and my friend went to New York, where smarter and braver people moved to. He wanted to go to my college so that we could be together, but his father threatened to literally murder him if he didn't get out of his house because he was so annoying. During the spring semester, I would get phone calls from my friend's number and only hear him panting, and I knew that he was having sex with someone in New York. I would hear them climax at the same time, and the phone would just click off. If I tried to hang up before then, he would just call me back over and over again until I listened to them climax. So I would be forced to accept the call and listen so my roommates wouldn't be kept up all night. During midterms, I fell behind on my cell phone bill. I was working 2 jobs and going to school full time and simply forgot to pay for it and had overdrafted my checking account. It would be a week before I can get my finances in order. How many phone calls had I missed from my friend? When my phone was finally put back into service, I received a call from my friend's father. Looking back, I knew it was inevitable. My friend was going to return sooner or later. I knew it the entire time we were apart. I just didn't know how or when exactly, and I never expected that he would be in the condition his father described to me on the phone that spring afternoon as I watched the sweat-shirted joggers crossing the lawn, the orange rays of sunset cutting through the trees and obliterating portions of the old college's buildings' details. He keeps asking for you, my friend's father said in a weary voice. You're the only one. You're the only one.
Oof. That's so powerful.
Thanks, man.
I think about how he needs you. He doesn't feel safe or secure,
Uh-huh.
or he doesn't know what intimacy is without you being close to him.
Yeah.
You know, you're like a sexual parent to him, and he's got like an attachment, like an insecure attachment to you.
I have to literally hold his hand at sometimes,
Yeah.
you know?
Imagine the fear in his heart that is creeps in whenever he's about to spray clown with somebody, to have to reach out and have you as that security blanket.
I mean, well, I don't want to give away too much of the next chapter.
Sure,
You know.
sure. But it's just, I mean, that's compelling writing, because it has me thinking about
Thanks.
What is in this? What is? I mean, he sounds
He's
cool. He
yeah,
sounds like
he's a charming guy. He can chill. He can hang. People like him.
yeah. He can
No.
get he obviously gets pussy.
Yeah.
He fucks. He's got money. He seems like a cool, chill guy.
Yeah.
But he just needs to. If there's something about you that feels really safe to him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he went Hulk smash through that window to that wall
Yeah.
and crawled through. He was probably just coated in drywall, you know,
Yeah.
scratched up, that like really dry kind of scratch you get where it just looks like white on your skin, covered in
Yeah.
scratches. Like having sex with the at the
He
same
doesn't
time as you.
he doesn't know it. He doesn't seem to acknowledge that it might be making me uncomfortable. Might be wrong.
Yeah, he
But
doesn't
maybe I let
care.
it go too.
Yeah,
No, it just seems natural.
yeah,
You
and
know?
that's why it's like it's
I gotta take a note. Go on.
it's just you really are like a teddy bear or like some kind
Yeah.
of secure object that he can find comfort in.
Yeah. It would be nice to be that way for someone.
There's not a
Instead
lot
of
of it's annoying, but there's not a lot of emotional commitment to it.
yeah, it's not that hard for me.
Mm-mm.
It's fun. We're having fun. We're kids.
I also like how it reminded me of the Odyssey, and like you get to this the brothel island is I don't know, it's very Odysseus-esque imagery.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't kidding. We definitely became something else at that point.
Mm-hmm.
My friend and I.
Yeah.
Was it men? These are good notes. These are good things I'll probably bring back in. Did we turn into men? Rhetorical questions.
I picture him crawling through that. I just can't get this image out of my head of him crawling through the wall naked, hard, just covered in drywall dust.
But he doesn't look at you.
No.
He's just like working.
It's like he's breaking out of prison. Like he just put in all this work to bash this hole in, and he's just like frenetically trying to climb through it.
Yeah.
Just getting like
That's
cut up and scraped. Like there's probably like a stud in there.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't give a fuck.
And he's setting it up. He moves the bed in one position. He looks through the hole. He's like, no, this isn't right. Got to scoot it a little bit.
Yeah.
And he sits in the bed and like tells the woman to missionary. And he's trying to can I still see? Is it still visible? Is it still there? Gets off, moves the bed again, then gets on like a third time,
Yeah. Wait, so maybe I misunderstood it. Does he crawl through the hole and get in the room
sorry.
with you?
No. I wanted it to be he's still in the other room, but he just created like a window between the two rooms so that we're basically in one room.
Okay. I understood it as
and maybe he's reaching towards the hole, like not looking, but like reaching towards the hole.
Yeah.
But like he's not looking at the hole. He's looking at the partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's somehow even more insane than what I thought it was.
Okay, yeah, I need to tighten it up a little bit then.
No, I mean it still works. I thought he bashed a hole, crawled through it, and like brought his woman into your room and had sex with her on the same bed as you.
That's not how I imagine it, but it's not too dissimilar,
Yeah.
I mean, the holding hands on the couch, in the TV room, I think is, one step closer.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like at what point was the attachment made? Was it on the boat? Was it before the boat?
there's going to be some.
Yeah. I mean, these are all just.
We're going to hear some more stories about my friend.
This is all just excitement building up inside of me.
I mean, I got a novel here.
Yeah.
I definitely got a novel. It's in me. It's just like it's happening. I'm in it now.
Spazzy friend is so relatable.
I picture him as kind of like the who's that guy who Florida guy, his whole family's corrupt, town in Florida. He's in jail now. The dad's in jail for like Alex Murdaugh. One of his sons is like just has like beady little eyes and just like his face is like quick to turn red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just kind of picture him like that, just kind of like a hot-blooded white guy.
Yeah.
But kind of bushy hair. And eyes that just turn black when he's enraged. Red face.
Yeah, but he seems like he's not threatening to you. He backs down at like you're able to physically dominate him.
It's like when a kid, it's like when a hyperactive kid gets out of control.
Yeah, or like
You're more nervous about what they're doing, but you kind of feel for them a little bit.
Yeah, or like when like you get like a really big aggressive dog and you have to like hold them down to let them know you're the alpha. And like you only have to do it like once or twice and then they get it.
Yeah. Damn, I want a dog. You think you'll ever get a dog?
Man, I see people like having to walk their dogs in like the shittiest of weather and like at all out hours of the morning and night. I'm like,
The
I'd rather just have a cat.
They're so cute though, aren't they?
Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up with dogs. I would like to have a dog.
Maybe later on.
Yeah, maybe we can split a dog, like spend summers with me. Or summers with you and winters with me.
I don't know if I can handle that. I love these things.
Yeah.
They're all love.
It's all love, yeah.
Okay. I think we got good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I don't want to stress it out if it's not.
Yeah.
Nothing's there.
How's the